You know, sometimes I think companies actually are watching the videos, actually watching the videos and be like, I think he needs one of these because this company here, Alxum, I think, I'm not sure, reached out to me and asked if I wanted to try one of their dual bay docking stations. And I was like, actually, this comes at a great time because as a lot of you may know that watch the videos, I usually edit down here on my iMac, and I have a decent, you know, with external drives and things like that, set up for backing up. But upstairs where I'm doing more of my editing now so that I can actually get some sunlight, I use my MacBook, and I don't have a backup system really at all, which I should, because I'm usually working on a series of videos at any given time. And if my drive that I'm working on were to fail, not only could I lose one actual project, but I could lose a whole bunch of projects. And I usually edit and keep the project files until that video has actually posted and gone online and everything looks good and we're all happy. And at that point, sometimes I'll delete the project. But that could be weeks after the project is actually done. So being able to back up that drive and then have that drive back up, I think is going to be excellent. So we're going to look today at the Alxum 2.5-inch dual bay docking station, the one that I got, and we'll quickly just look at some of the other ones because there's a few that they make, and they could be a nice addition to your setup. All right, so this one here is the one that I chose. But they do make other ones. You can see here, this is the one I got. This is the $36.99 one. They're all kind of in that same price point, in and around that $36, $37 mark. For instance, this is the one they kind of approached me with, and I was like, okay, same kind of idea. That one there on the screen can do 2.5-inch SATA drives as well as 3.5-inch SATA drives. So for those that have those drives, this may be a really good option. And the bonus is, of course, is that you can put one drive in there and then have that drive cloned to another drive. It's a great way if you have a bunch of drives and maybe you're just testing them, make sure that they function. You can just pop them in. You don't have to like tear your computer apart. As well as maybe someone that has gone from a full-size tower and now is going to a laptop. You again have that ability to utilize a lot of those external drives that you may already have, as long as they're SATA drives. I went with this one here, because primarily of the dust cover, because this is going to sit up and kind of a permanent housing for backup for me. I wanted something that just was able to put the drives in, cover it up, no dust getting on it, and it doesn't look bad. It kind of looks nice. So that's why I went with this one. USB-C, which is great, right? I bought two 2.5-inch SATA drives, just 2 gigs, so that it can back up the project files that I'm working on. 2 gigs should be plenty. I do have a drive that backs up the actual system, but just not my project files. So this is it. USB 3.2 Type-C Gen 1, you guys can read it here, with online and offline clone, which is cool because you can actually just hit a button on the front, even if it's not connected to the computer, and be like, oh, I gotta take my computer out, but I'll actually just back this drive up and it'll just back up without having the computer in it, right? Talks about everything it is, different languages, etc., etc. And on the back, you guys can get a closer look at it here if you want to pause the screen, kind of see what's on there. I do like, again, that it has an air intake, air outlet, output, whatever you want to call it. And supposedly you don't have to do a whole lot. You just pop the drives in, which is also kind of nice. And there's that LED indicator and the one-touch clone button. Now, I don't have anything on these drives. Again, these drives are brand new and sealed, and I did buy these drives. Good old Amazon. They're Seagate drives. I didn't buy anything overly expensive because, well, I just didn't. For backup drives, there's going to be 2 of them now, and honestly, I think 2 of them, even if they're not that expensive, should work just fine. So this looks like it's the base here. We'll look at that in a second. And then my guess is, oh, that must be the whole thing, base and cover. Yeah. Then you get the power outlet. Of course, it does need power because it does need to be able to run even without a computer. And then, of course, there's your USB-C to USB-C cable. So decent length, which is good. All right, we'll throw this stuff right there. And that's it. See, that's nice and small. That's not going to look like crazy on your desk. It's really light. That's it. There's your clone button. I'm guessing that's your little LED. Maybe actually right across there is the LED light that's going to come on it. And then on the back, you have your, what does that say? Off and on. There's your power, and then there's your USB, right? There, you guys can see it right there. That's all that's sharp looking, especially for those of us that have a lot of black and or white on the desk. And then this simply comes off, and there's where your drives go. All right, I'm down. I don't know if there's any order. Like, I'm gonna put these in here first. So my guess is these just open somehow, like with magic. I'm bringing out the knife. It's happening. Okay. So drive 1, and as you can see, this is a Seagate Barracuda 2 terabyte. Now the one thing too is, because I'm using this as a backup drive, speed's not overly important for me. But if you were someone that, for instance, wanted a bit faster drives, I would look at the 3.5 inch, because you can get those running at like 7,200 RPMs. So this, I believe, goes in this way, and it should just kind of mount like that, right? That seems simple. Seems simple to me. And because the actual dock is getting it, so you guys can see there's kind of the pin configuration. They kind of go in this way, so label towards you, I believe. Label towards you, yeah. And you just kind of snug them up near the top and push down, and that's it. Now they do have a bit of, I want to say, flop to them, but that's going to sit there, and it does show on here drive A, drive B. So my guess is drive A is going to be the working drive. Drive B is going to be the clone drive, so just make sure you get them in the right spot. This sits and seals, as you can see, it seals up, which is good. No dust is going to get in there. I am going to now get these two ready. Okie dokie. And we're plugging this into here. This is currently off, which is good. Okay. We're bringing my computer down. We are recording already, so that's okay. Plugging that in. Sweet. Sweet deal. Plugged it off to get that off to the side there. And then plug it in. So because it's off, nothing should fire up. Now I'm just going to hide some of this stuff. One drive should show up, just one drive. And then what we'll do is we'll move some stuff to it. Okay. We'll just move a file. Nothing overly exciting. Okay, so everything's plugged in. There's no lights or anything as of yet. I'm gonna turn this on. You get a little fan that comes up, which is nice, and you do get, you guys see that? There's a little light right there. A little light that shows up. It's an orange light. Maybe if I turn it this way, you guys can see there. You can kind of see the orange light. Okay, so I don't know if it has to go through like some kind of initialization phase. My guess is that you may have to go into your like disk utilities and see if there's a drive there. As of now, nope. Now I don't know again if we have to do anything to wait for those drives to show up. I'll just wait and we'll find out. So hold on. Okay, so I figured out the issue. I was plugged into a power adapter that wasn't getting any power. So that's why. So the drives would spin up, but what was happening was getting a little bit of power through the USB, but not enough power because the power bar or the power brick, the plug-in, wasn't getting enough power. So now you'll see on the screen that it came up and said there's 2 discs connected, which there are. And you guys, again, I'll turn this around so you guys can just see the lights, hopefully, right there. So drive A and drive B. Okay, so we're going to initialize, and let's see, I'm going to, well, you can see both, right? So initialize, there's the 2 drives right here. So we can come in here and do an erase. So uninitialized, so I'm going to come in here and we'll call this external A, APFS, yeah, sure. And we should see that drive start to flash, which it is. So it's actually initializing that drive, which is great because new drives, right? They don't have any partitions to them yet. And then what we're going to do is do the exact same thing to the second one. Cool. We're going to go back in. Oops, my disk utility quit on me. Nice. We should see the second drive right there, right? Because that's A. And then second drive we're going to actually call. So you may want to, just in case, right? Just in case they come up like this, you may want to actually put one drive in and initialize it first, and so that you know the names, right? So this one here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to erase. We're going to call it external B, which will be the backup of that. So erase. Should see light B going. You can hear the drives going. And for fun's sake, we'll just put that top on there. And you can hear the fans for sure. There's a little fan at the bottom here that's going, which is kind of nice. And now I'm not expecting these, because they are just standard spinning drives, to be ridiculously fast. But you could put like 2.5-inch SSDs in there if you wanted to. But for me, for backup, I just let them run, so it's fine. So very good. We have the 2 drives. Now these 2 drives could just run as drives. You can see we can just open them up, right? So you can just see them. I don't know. You may be able to set these up almost like a software RAID if you wanted to. Just if you wanted 1 drive for a redundant backup. For me, I want 2 drives. So at this point in time, I could, we'll just use a for instance here, take some movies, and I'll just take some of these screenshots, right? There's a bunch of screen recordings here, which will be a fair bit, and we'll just drag them to drive A. You'll see these copy. Now we're moving 8.5 gigs. It says it's going to take about a minute, so that's not too bad. And you can see the drive actually right there, drive A, getting all its activity. And we'll just wait for that to finish. The other thing that we'll do, of course, is we'll do a quick just speed test, just to see how fast that drive is. Now again, that's just going to be based on my drive. It's just a 5400 RPM 2.5-inch drive, so it's not fast by any means, but I didn't need it to be. But we'll be able to get an idea. And then last but not least, all we want to do after that is hit that clone button on the front, and it should clone drive A to drive B, which is nice because this way we don't actually even have to invest in any kind of backup or cloning software, which can also be really handy. So this is almost finished here. You guys get it real time. So there you go, done, right? Now the other thing we'll do here is we'll bring up Blackmagic disk speed test, and we'll just do a quick test on external A. So external A right here. Now external A and B should be the same, and we'll just do a start. Yeah, so we're getting, for a spinning drive, I'm super pleased with that. 130, that's fantastic. For a write and read, we are getting 131 for read, so even just a little bit faster. So I think that's all right. So we're just going to stop this right now. All right, so last thing is we have the 2 drives. Of course, there is now data on drive A, right? As you can see here, if I go to my external A, there's stuff on it. Yes. External B has nothing on it, which is sweet. But if we hold this, think we have to hold it for a few seconds. Okay, so it does say, press and hold the clone button for about 3 seconds. When all the LED indicators light up, quickly press the button again, and then the clone starts one by one. 4 LED indicators will flash and be on the 25, 50, 75, and 100%. All right, so let's figure it out. So 3 seconds, ready? Again, 1, 2, 3. Now the other thing is, I'm wondering, because it didn't do it, is it may need to not be plugged into the computer to do the clone, because it won't know that it's not supposed to be a working drive. So I have ejected the drives. Okay, we'll unplug the USB-C. You'll see this is still on. USB-C is no longer plugged in. Okay, and 1, 2, 3. There it is, and then tap. And now she starts. So the cloning feature, your computer can't be attached to it. At this point in time, you'll see the cloning start. And what happens is now these indicator lights are based on like 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. So right now we're just at the 25% mark. I'm staring at my monitor just so you guys know, because I can't see the lights from standing behind it. And I'm just going to drop that there. And we'll wait for that to finish its clone. Okay, so without making this video like 900 hours long, I want you guys to look at this right here. We are finally on 25, 50, 75. We're close to the 100%. We're getting there. But you guys may be wondering, and I've been, I was watching other people's videos and I was trying to figure out how long they take. And a lot of the videos in regards to a lot of this kind of stuff were filmed years ago. So we are currently right now 4.5 hours, something like that. And I want you guys to, first off, kind of be aware of the difference between like cloning a drive and backing up a drive, right? Because this may be something that you weren't aware of. So there's 2 drives in here, and it's cloning, right? Because it doesn't need any software. It's going to take whatever is in drive A and make a direct duplicate of it on drive B. So there's no kind of redundancy in the backup. There's no just looking for changes. It will literally be like, okay, what's on sector 1? Move that, put it on sector 1. Sector 2, 2, 2, 3, 3. Doesn't matter if there's something on that sector or not. It looks at it and puts it, right? So it kind of goes back and forth, which is why when I was looking at some of these other videos that I was watching online, and I was like, why are they moving SSDs, which is faster, I get it, they can be, 3 to 4 times as quick as a spinning drive, but why are they saying this is only taking like 10-15 minutes? And then I realized they're only cloning like 128 gig drives. So, that's 20 times smaller than what I'm backing up right now. So I have a slower drive that's 20 times the size because it's 2 terabytes, and that takes a while. So cloning, something that probably you and I would do once every day, maybe at night. We set it to clone before we go to bed, or once we're done working, we've moved everything around, we hit clone and we go away, and by that evening or the next morning, it's cloned and it's good, right? It does its job. If it takes 3 hours or it takes 10 hours, who cares? But there are backup solutions, right? So there are programs like Carbon Copy Cloner, and I use something called Smart Backup. And that allows me to select a source and a target, which could be drive A and drive B, and say back that up. Now, of course, if there's only 8 gigs worth of data, it's only going to physically move 8 gigs worth of data, not searching through 2 terabytes of hard drive space, right? And afterwards, if I make one change, it only has to back up the one change, not go through and replicate the whole drive again. So this, pretty much every night that I would do this,
would be 4+ hours. With a backup piece of software, which still works with this without question, right? A backup piece of software can be, well, the first one can take a while because it's backing up everything. But after that, it's only backing up changes. So that's going to be significantly closer. So it could take, a minute up to, it could take half hour or an hour or more if it's moving actually a terabyte worth of data. So this is doing its job. You guys can probably hear it. I'll bring it up closer. That's the fans and everything going. The drives themselves are quiet, which is good. But you guys should make that decision whether you want to use the clone. Again, if you're using 2 SSDs, especially if they're like 500 gigs or a terabyte, even a clone's probably not going to take that long, right? Half hour, 45 minutes maybe. But if you're running like me, let's say you had a 10 or a 12 terabyte drive inside here, which you are replicating into another 10 or 12 terabyte drive. Yeah, that's going to take a while for sure. That may take like all day and all night. So one of the big reasons why this does this when it's not plugged into your computer, because it can take some time. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you there. I'm going to put links down to Alxum's website or their Amazon listing. For $35 US, it's a great backup solution, especially for those that maybe are moving from computer A to computer B. They're moving from a desktop to another desktop. They're moving from a desktop to a laptop, and they want to be able to clone the drive to an existing drive. This can be a really great thing. Or if you're just someone that likes to be able to test hard drives and back them up for people, this could also be really good because you don't have to crack anything open. You just kind of stick it in there and off you go. Now just realize this one here with the dust cover only does 2.5-inch SATA drives. The other ones that they have, which are kind of the open tops, can usually do 2.5 and 3.5. All right, guys, that's it. Links down below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that little notification bell. I'm going to wait for this to finish. And then I'm probably going to set it up with actual backup software. All right, my friends, that's it. Later.